Yeah.
Good afternoon, Ngozi Talk Shows family. It's Nomsa here at Ngozi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. Today, I am with Carol Ann. How are you, Carol Ann?
I'm very well, thank you. How about yourself?
Yeah, good, good. Thank you. How is the weather your side?
It's it's sunny. There's a few clouds up there, but it's nice. It's dry today, so it's a bit warmer than it has been. It was quite cold at the weekend.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. It's the same here as well. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
As long as there is no rain as well.
hmm yeah.
Okay, so what's our topic today is self-care strategies for couples building resilience and connection together. So maintaining a strong resilience relationship requires effort, especially during challenging times. So we're going to share some few self-care strategies for couples that can help build the resilience, deepen their connection. And Carol Annie, you chose this topic. Would you like to explain to our audience the motivation behind it, please?
Yeah. We often talk about self-care, and it's more for individuals. And I just had a thought, well, why don't we look at it in terms of couples and relationships? Because very often people sort of do it for themselves, which is great. And yes, it's important that you do self-care for yourself. But how about slightly taking a different angle on it and looking at it in terms of a couple? Because if you can work together on this, it will help to improve that relationship, and it actually fosters mutual growth, because sometimes one person in a partnership or relationship can focus on self-care, and somehow there's that growing apart, which we spoke about several weeks ago, or was it a few months ago now, about how when you go on a journey of personal discovery and self-growth and really, and which is just looking after yourself as well, people sort of drift away and relationships can drift apart. So it is important for both people or parties, and there are activities you could, do together. So again, it's looking at that. So what was your thoughts when you saw the topic, Namsa?
Yeah, I love the topic. Yeah, I agree with you. We normally talk about individual self-care. We never really talk, we've never had the chance to include couples together. So I think the topic is really perfect. And also agree with you that I think it's very, very important to work as a team, so that we don't grow apart. The relationship does not grow apart. So it's very, very important. Anyway, you were married for how long? 25 years?
Almost 24 years. We were together
24.
for 26. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, 26 years, that is a long time. Because whether you're married or not married at that moment, you still do the same
Still
role.
together. Yeah.
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 The only difference is the certificate
Yeah.
signing. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But for us, it was a case of we had grown apart, and I'd started um, doing some self-care in terms of I discovered Indian head massages and things like that. And so I started diving and looking into myself a bit more. And it was like, even though my ex-husband, he had a few, well, that's right, it was some acupressure as well, which is like acupuncture, only without the needles. They just use the points, acupressure points, again, to take away stress and to shift things. And my ex-husband, he had a few sessions as well, and we had healing prayers, and but it was done separately. And for a short space of time, it's like we came together, and then it was like we drifted apart again. And it was me going more on that journey than he didn't really pick it up. So again, it felt we did drift apart, and it just felt right in that moment when we did decide to part company, that was what was right for us. But it doesn't have to be that way. I know another couple who they've had lots of problems over the years, but they've worked on them. They've both done personal development together. They do self-care, and they, it means you can actually both of you can bring your best selves to the partnership and grow together. So it is possible. But you have to be wanting to or willing to do that. So yeah, I remember thinking at the time, even before I sort of parted company with my husband, it was like, I don't know if I'm going to survive. And what am I here now? 25 years later, I'm still here, living, breathing, and my whole life took a whole different turn. But I often used to wonder, I don't anymore, how it would have been if we'd both worked together on this, what might have been different. But hey, you can't always look back on that, can you? You're muted, Nomsa.
Why am I muted? I'm muted.
Yeah.
I think it's some of the things that actually destroys probably a relationship is expectations, and also like when you enter a relationship, or people say they're looking for love, but that love ends up being an enemy instead of coming together as a team. People don't come together as a team, they become enemies among each other. It's like, what is that all about? Like, for me, I'm a straightforward person. If I'm in a relationship, I don't like no mumbo jumbo stuff. It's like, I'm in it, I'm straightforward. My life is very, very simple. I don't like the control, like when a man or a woman starts saying to a man, don't do that, don't do that, or a woman is saying to a man, don't do that. It destroys the relationship. I was actually working on it yesterday. I was like, this is how people get destroyed. Their confidence. It's like we're here at Nkosi talk shows. If I like if we like don't motivate each other, we are like criticizing each other. It's a block. So that's what happens in relationship. People are blocking, couples are blocking each other. Like, you can't do this. There's no freedom.
Yeah.
So I was like, honestly, I spent 2 hours realizing this yesterday. I was like, wow. What do you think, Kero Ann, about this limitation of blocking each other? You can't do this, you can't do that.
It's true. It is. It does block this criticism, and it also it creates a downward energy spiral for yourself. It's like it saps your energy. I know the times I used to come bounding in, I was happy, and had ideas, and immediately criticism jumped in. Why do you think you're going to do that? And questions, and all of a sudden my energy was like whoom, through the floor. And you can feel, as you can see, I sat back. It's like there's a pulling apart. And so you're not, the communication goes, is that there is that block. And yeah, very much so. So what do you suggest people can do to help stop that? Or, because you need to become aware of it. If the first case is obviously become aware of it and notice what's happened just then. But how can people or couples then get over that? Because that is so destructive. It's like your mouth closes, your throat closes, your throat chakra, which is about communication, closes. Everything closes down. And that's the nature of the block. How can we then open up again, Nomsa?
when I was cleansing yesterday, I just felt like I wanted to vomit, Kero, and I was like, is this how we live? I think freedom, you have to have a free spirit, give the other person freedom is very, very important if you are in a relationship. It's like nowadays, it's like I was listening to this guy he was talking about how people qualify as a relationship when they go on a date. And I was just laughing and I was like, he's just the copy of me. I actually agreed with him 100%, Carol, and that I
Mhm.
think freedom in a relationship is very, very important. I don't know about you, but for me, allowing Carol Ann to be Carol Ann, it's like getting excited. Like if I'm in a relationship with somebody, allowing that person to be who they're meant to be, I think is important.
Oh, it's
I
very
don't know about
important.
you.
Yeah. I remember before my ex-husband and I got married, we were together. I was at college. We were engaged at that point, but I used to go to a fencing club every week. And I don't know, everybody got changed in the same, there was men and women there, but we all got changed in the same room. It was just, but once my ex-husband was with me, we were engaged, to say my fiance then, and he didn't like that. He tried to stop me. He said, but that's not right. You shouldn't be all together. And what if, there was all this what ifs, as if some other man was going to come, or, or boy or whatever was going to, because we were quite younger then. I was only about 19, 20 at the time. I think back. And he was so insecure himself, and he had threw this on me, but I wasn't able to stand up for myself. And I felt really, again, it was that energy. It's the only way I can describe it. I felt blocked, and I felt like I had to justify why I wanted to go. And yet I'd been going for a long time, and it's like, stop it. I couldn't stand up for myself. So being able to stand up for yourself, this is where some self-care helps, because it's being able to help you get in touch with what's going on for yourself and be able to then express what it is. But it's also important for the other person to understand their fears, be able to communicate them, but for you to come together and just work through that. What are the fears? Are they really justified? And are you projecting something from your past onto your partner?
Yeah.
Because that's where it comes from. The mistrust comes from the past, things that have happened in your past, and you bring that into a relationship. So it's being able to separate that out and go, right, is this true? Is this really coming from here right now? Has this person given me justification for these fears? And be able to then work on that. So finding somebody where you can both go together to talk about this, or even maybe just meditate together on it. So you can come together in a slightly different way, that you just are together, you meditate, you ask for guidance, because meditation is just that putting up the prayer, and then it's just being together and just getting the truth of what's there, and asking that each can have your own voice and speak from truth, and then allow yourselves both from a much calmer, being present perspective to then speak about what's there for you. Each person being able to speak from that place. And so that's some self-care that is really important to practice. What do you think, Namasa?
I think if finding your own voice, that's why in Gossip Talk Shows it says that find your own voice, lead from within. You cannot lead from within if somebody truly, truly controls you. Because that is like when somebody tells you you can't do that, that's putting fear on you. Okay, I'm not allowed to do this. And then you will start building walls like freedom is gone. You cannot be yourself. And that is the blockage. That's when the blockage comes in. So I was thinking yesterday, I was like, Bill Gates is a billionaire. He, with his friends, they've created Microsoft and built Microsoft. They believe in their intelligence. It's somehow they had to clear the um, something around in their environment. They had to move away from people who did not believe in them and things like that. And that's why they created what they have created, and they went on to become what they became because they believe in that. And how many people that like we enter a relationship and you get told like you're a human being. I was like, why would you tell a human being you cannot do that? That's insane. I was like, that's insanity.
But it happens. It happens. And it is crazy. And it's being able to recognize where that's coming from. That control part of that person is attempting to control the situation because there's an element of themselves that is maybe out of control and is constantly attempting to take control. And it's being able to allow yourselves to be out of control, because actually that's where your freedom is. And that's what you were saying. It's having a free spirit. It's allowing people to be free and having freedom. And you don't know what's going to happen. So it's letting go of control
Yeah.
and trusting. And it's not a case of just letting go of control. It's handing it over to a higher power, to God, to the universe, or whatever you believe in, and know that that higher power has got your back. And it's being able to trust in that. So letting go and embracing uncertainty is where your freedom is. And you know what they say, is it about a butterfly, or if it's, you let it go, if it comes back, it's meant to be, it's letting something go. And if it doesn't come back,
It's not meant to be. Yeah.
If it comes back, then it's come back of its own free will. And you know that it wants to be with you. So it's the same in your relationships. Allow someone to be free and to breathe. And again, that comes down to maybe just allowing yourselves time to plan, set your schedules and plan together, plan your time, your week, your days. Have a few moments on a weekly basis or a daily basis where you talk together and say, right, these are my plans for the week. What are your plans? And make sure that each of you have put in their plans for your own personal time and for time together, so that you're not just separate. It's not about having freedom that you both go each your own ways. It's important to have time together as well. And it's about planning it, not going, you've got to come with me to this, or we've got to do this together. When can you be together? When do you want to be together? When can we do this? Have some date nights, or have some time together where you say, oh, let's just play a game or something, or let's maybe each day we go out for a walk together, or you do some sort of exercise together, or an activity once a week. It's something you do together, because it brings that bonding togetherness. So what other ways can we sort of promote this freedom or encourage the freedom?
I think what you've said, Carol Anne, is on point, like checking in with each other, what you're doing, your scheduling stuff. I think it's very, very important. It's like my schedule. I work around my family. whatever they're doing, I work around them. But there's one thing that I have not been able to compromise. Is like my father-in-law has been in a hospital for a very long time now, and
Yeah.
he's still there.
Gosh.
So normally I go to church Sundays and then I come home and then we do our own thing. But
Hmm.
now I have to go to the hospital after. So I was telling these guys, even on my birthday, like, where you going? It's like, I'm going to see my father-in-law. And they're like, but it's we have to do this. I was like, he comes first in my life with God. The reason why he comes, I have to prioritize the guy. I have a beautiful family because of him. And if
Mm.
it went for him, I was telling his son, I was like, if he went for your father, I
Mm.
would not have what I have. So I just looked at him and I was like, he comes if he's not well, it's fine. He can do his own thing. I'm fine with that. I can miss going to see him. But if he is in a hospital, I have to prioritize him. So my children have to understand that sometimes we cannot always get what we want. Even on my birthday, I finished church. I was meant to go out. I just went and saw him. Because the
Yeah.
birthday is there, Carol
Mm.
Ann.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
anything happens and I wasn't there for him, God will put me on the cross and say, listen, my child died because you chose dinner for a soul. So I was like, my dinner is not important. I was like, he is a human being is important. I think it's prioritizing things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when you prioritize things, it's very, very important to put just to communicate, like you said. Let's
Yeah.
communicate, check in with each other, date nights and stuff, and continue to work in a relationship.
Mm.
So you were married for a long time. We get advice from you, like, girls, I did this, it did not work. You do this, it works. Yeah.
Yeah. This was one of the things that we didn't do. I mean, we would sit and plan our holidays, we would plan the future, but we never really planned right now. We were always out in the future. Um, and
This is what I don't do, Carol Ann.
yeah, I mean,
That's
years in the future.
depressing.
It's crazy. It's like, what were we doing? But that's
That's
where I lived.
depressing.
Um, it was what it
Now,
was, and I realize it's more about in the now, and we never really planned or gave ourselves time to go out because actually we didn't prioritize the money for that, or we didn't seem to have the money for that. The children obviously came first, what they wanted to do, and um, we had our own interests, and I had one night. Tuesday evening was my night to go out. I did keep fit, and Saturday mornings I do toning beds. Um, my ex-husband, he had choir practice, and there was something else he used to do as well. And so he would go out certain nights, but he also worked shifts, which didn't help. That's always through sort of spanner in the works. But yeah, you have to make it work around that. And I think that was perhaps maybe an excuse. He was on shifts. We could have perhaps thought, oh, how can we make this work? But I remember getting to a point sort of later on in our marriage where we'd been to an event and there was an a cappella group there and we were singing and we really enjoyed it. And they decided to set aside a Tuesday, it was a Tuesday night for meeting up. And I said, well, can't you make it a Wednesday night? Because I go to keep fit on a Tuesday night. And it was like, no. And my ex-husband went to that and he expected me to give up my keep fit if I wanted to go. It's like, excuse me, I've been doing keep fit all these years on a Tuesday night with my friend, it's like, no, it ain't gonna happen. And that really, I put a wedge in there. It gave a really nasty taste in the mouth because it's like, well, you don't want, I started that question, do you really want to be with me? So that was really um an emotional, what was the word? It just made me feel sad and upset, and in a sense, a sort of a rejection. Um, so notice how these things come out, and I wasn't able then to really explain or say what was happening. It's only now, as I think back, have I got the words to describe how it was for me then. So again, it's being able to just find those times to find your voice and sit down and say, look, this isn't working for me. How can we make this work? Or if you want to do that when I go to Keep Fit, when can we find some time together to really sit and talk or do something together? And to say that didn't happen. I know we didn't have so much digital stuff back then, but I think now a great thing for couples to do would be actually to have a digital detox, because it's again noticing how much are you on your laptop, your phone, you're on a game or something, and just specify a certain time and say, right, all digital things off, put them in a box, turn them off, unplug them, whatever, and give yourself time to engage in something else together. Maybe reading. You can be together, but you can be reading a book, maybe playing a board game, maybe just simply going for a walk together, or going, what is it? Just something that is a screen-free activity. What would you both really like to do together? And if you can't find something, then ask yourselves, what is this relationship really about? Do we really want to be together? Because is there ups and downs? Is there arguments? Is there tension? And if there is, and you're not willing to find time to be together to mend it, then you really need to sit down and ask, well, sort out, what are your values? Look at your values. What's important to you? And both of you make a separate list. What's important to me? What's important to me? And then what's important to me? And then what's important to me? And just make a whole long list. And then put them in order. What's the top one? What's my top priority? And just get the top 5 or 6. And then compare. Are there any that are the same, or are they completely disparate? They just don't connect. Because there is something that you can work on, so that you could maybe shift and bring in one value from each person and make it one of your top 6, so that you've got something in common. It will shift the whole relationship, because then what's important to you will shift in alignment with that. And that's something key that you can do together if you really want to make the relationship work, because that's the bottom line question. What brought you together? Do you want to stay together? And what's it going to take to make it work? Because it's not just thinking about it or thinking or wishing, and that's not going to make it happen. Thoughts just lead to more thoughts, but it's action that actually really leads to results. So you need to take some action about it. What do you think, Namsa?
I like it, Carol Ann, when you say when things are not working, just think about what brought you guys together, because we get distracted by so many things in this world. Life gets so busy and life is so fast. When we go on social media, there's loads going on, and we see our friends, they are leading this fake life, and we want to be like our friends. We think that fake life is real, but we don't really know what happens behind the scenes. And then we start comparing that life with ours. So it's very, very important to what you're saying, Kiro Anne, that to go back and see what brought you together. And instead of having rules in a relationship, rules that destroys a relationship, have principles. Principles, they help you to understand where you're going, who you are as a person. Like when I enter your life, Carol Ann, I need to know your principles so I can know the boundaries as well, so I cannot cross those boundaries. So that's what is needed in a relationship. And a relationship is all about fun. People get so serious. The rules, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I was like, it's
Mm.
my birthday. As I was saying to my spouse, it's my birthday. I can do what I want. I was like, I'm going to see my granddad. I call him granddad because the children call him granddad. So I was like, I'm going to see granddad
Yeah.
because no one says I shouldn't go and see him on my birthday, or no one says I shouldn't do this. So I'm going. So they don't sometimes some people don't make sense when you prioritize some other things. For me, I was raised to live a free life. I'll go to my dad. Like growing up as a kid, I would just go to my dad and we have a discussion, and my dad would treat me like a normal person. Carol Anna would sit down and I would talk.
Mm.
My sister, when I would talk now, even my grandmother and my mom would do the same because that's my character. My sister now, when she talks, she feels that I was more loved than them. I'm like, no, 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 you guys are wrong. My dad loves you so much, but it's just me. I'm just me. I just like to sit down and ask questions. I don't take life very, very serious. It's very, very important. Like Ikero Anna, you say you lived in the future. I plan goals. I write my goals. This is what I want to achieve in 5 years. But I can't waste my time and go and live in 5 years. While I'm in today, today is 18th of June. I got to enjoy this day. I got to
Mm.
look forward to tomorrow. I cannot annoy. I can invest money. I can do that. I can do that. But hell no, Kero. And I'm glad that you confirmed that you guys in your relationship, you lived in the future. And that gives me something to work on. I'll take those words and I'll evaluate them, and I'll make sure that I do not live in the future. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome. Because yeah, there was constant stress, there was worry because it was like, well, is it going to be like that? This is what I want, and plan, 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 and literally just not here in the moment at all. Yeah, when I think back, it created stress and it created a disconnect as well because I wasn't fully present, even though I thought I was. No, I wasn't. And I was always planning other things or was never really in the moment. And so this is where couples can actually work together on being in the moment. Practice some mindfulness or meditation, but just being in the moment. Certainly mindfulness, just both together, just saying what's here, bringing yourselves into the moment. And it only needs to be, maybe set aside 5 or 10 minutes just to come together to do that. And that shows that you're important to each other, to give yourself just 5 or 10 minutes. And some people might say, oh, is that all you can give me? And there's your criticism. There's that, oh, again. Thank you. It's about being grateful. So maybe you could start a gratitude journal. You could do your own individual gratitude journals, but set time aside so you can come together and share, or create one together. Have a shared gratitude journal. But again, it's something you come together about, and it doesn't need to take a lot of time. Give yourself a few moments, set aside that, put it in your schedule to do that. And it can be on a daily basis or a weekly basis. You set the frequency. It's your It's what you want to do and how you want to do it. That's what's important. As Nomsa said, there's no rules here. I guess the only rule is you want to be willing to actually work together on this. There has to be a willingness to do that. And I think that's one of the more principle than a rule. You know, and it's a value, something that you value is coming together, is working together and wanting to be together. There's some value in that. So yeah, create that time to, what are you grateful for? Because gratitude can overcome so many hurdles. And I know it's something I often say to someone who's in a, you know, they've had something really bad happen to them. Say bad, but it's been uncomfortable. They can't see their way out. It's just like, oh my goodness, how could this happen? And I said, okay, so what can you be grateful for? Maybe there's a relationship that's just completely fallen apart. One partner is just so abusive and obnoxious, and it just had to leave. But to help you get through that is, what can you be grateful for out of that relationship? There will be something. It may be something small, and it's looking for that rather than hanging on to the story of how horrible it is, because that perpetuates it. Rather than, okay, I can be grateful for this and I can be grateful for that. Where's that silver lining? And is that something you've worked with couples, Nomsa, to help them get through some tough times?
Yeah, the gratitude is very, very important. The self-care is very, very important. And also relationship, there are some people when things gets tough in a relationship, they're like, they don't want to, it's more like listening to each other. That is important when somebody speaks. Take time to listen. Make sure they know that you hear them. Mostly men are the ones that don't want to listen to women. Every time, like the person that you speak to, like if any woman that works at my agency, they're like, I need a man that is going to listen, that is going to communicate with me, that is going to get me, like a man that gets me, that we're connected to that divine where we can do the things together. Communication is very, very important, and listening to that person is very, very important. And creating ritual in your relationship, it helps to get through challenging times and letting each other be as individual. You cannot expect this. I cannot expect Carol Ann to be me. It doesn't happen. In a relationship, you cannot expect your spouse to be you. You have to let them. That is called the freedom. Honestly, I spent 2 hours yesterday. I was so sad in realizing that there are so many people who spend the time blocking each other, not realizing it. It's like, when we finish school with our parents, it's like you get married, go get a good job, good education, a good job, and that's it. That's the accomplishment. Honestly, yeah, that is the accomplishment. It's like you have accomplished it. As long as I'm married, I've had a beautiful wedding, I've got a degree, I've got a good job. That's it. And that's where people go wrong when it comes to life. There's more to life.
Oh.
More.
So much more.
So much
that's
more.
just the beginning. If you got that mindset, oh, just okay, I can sit down now. It's over before you got any further. Because that's the set mindset that we often talk about rather than a growth mindset.
Yeah.
And it's about being able to have that growth mindset going, okay, right, what's next? One of my top values, I realize, is actually adventure. And another value is curiosity. So it's like adventure, being willing to explore, go on an adventure, get curious as to, well, what could I do? How could this turn out? And just go down a different avenue. It's like I did yesterday. I decided I needed to buy a dress because I'm going to a wedding on Thursday, and I've got a dress that fits me now. So I thought I need to go and buy a dress, and I've been putting it off and putting it off. And I thought, right. So yesterday afternoon, I set that time aside. And normally I just go into Harrow, local town, but something just didn't feel right. I thought, I don't know if I'm going to find what I want there. So I thought I would go to Westfield, which is a huge shopping mall. And I've never been there on my own. And it's one of those places where you can get so lost and so overwhelmed with, where do I go? And I just thought, right, I'm just going to go. I targeted one particular shop that I thought, well, they'll probably have a better range there than the one in Harrow. I will go there in Westfield. And so I took myself, I thought, let's go on. It's an adventure for me. Do it on my own. I just get it done. So I went into the shop, and I did find a dress. It took me a few times into the fitting rooms to get changed, unchanged, go and find another size or whatever. But I got the one that I thought, yes, this is what I want. And actually having the energy for me at the moment to do that was quite an accomplishment. I was like, wow. So when I came out, I just thought, rather than going the usual way back to the Shepherd's Bush station, let me go down this way, because I don't know if that comes out near another station that I was thinking it might do. So I walked down there because it's somewhere I'd never walked down before. Came out in this road, and I'm going, no, not quite where I thought I might be, but hey. So I turned one way and realized, okay, so Shepherd's Bush station is way down the road down there. And I found a map on a post. So I looked at the map and thought, oh, let me go back the way I'd just come out of. And down that road is the stations that I was thinking I would come out at near. And so I walked down there, and in doing so, I've pieced together something I didn't know. I might think I've driven around there, but driving isn't the same as walking. You don't get the same perspective of it. And so it was quite a way to walk, but I walked, and I eventually got to Wood Lane Station, and then to White City, and then onto the Central Line, which is what I wanted. And I'm going, ooh, curiosity. I just thought I just had an adventure, done something that I don't normally do. And I survived, and actually I quite enjoyed myself, and had quite a bit of exercise in the doing of it as well. So again, it's about going back to your top values, and how can you bring them into your life? Are you living to your top values, or are you ignoring them? And this is where, again, I say bring them together in your partnership, in your relationship. So, yeah, you were saying about, there was something you said, listening. That's right. Women that come to you and say they want a man who listens. Do they listen? That's something they need to ask themselves. Am I a good listener? So do be aware, if you're expecting that, there's that expectation from your partner, are you actually setting the standard yourself? Or are you just expecting it one way? And again, there's those expectations. You spoke about Nomsa at the beginning, didn't you? Expectations destroys a relationship. It's about, how can we reword this? Because I think expectations, I had expectations of my ex-husband, which again, I realized destroyed it. It was like, part of me was thinking, well, I can't be more like my dad. He does this, no, he does that. And it's like, in other ways, he was very much like my dad. I was going, no, but there was expectations of him being able to be someone who could do maintenance work when he wasn't. My dad was a carpenter. He knew how to work with wood, and he would always do the DIY at home. My ex-husband hadn't even been brought up with that sort of training or, skill set. So again, recognize what expectations you're putting in there, and have a conversation. Because if it's something that the other partner can't bring, or isn't able to in that moment to bring to the relationship, how can you get over that? Again, come down to communication, which you were saying earlier, Nomsa. So do be aware of that. You know, if you're putting out a standard that you want in a relationship that they have to listen, make sure that you're a good listener as well. And listening is actually not just hearing what they're saying, because you're here anyway. It's about clearing your mind of trying to think of an answer. It's really hearing in your head and going, okay, what was it they just said? And you're really focusing on what they said and you're hearing it in a different way. You're focusing on it. And out of that listening, a response actually comes. And it's about being happy with some silence. I think sometimes people try and fill the silence with chat, 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 chat. Actually feel the silence, allow that silence to be there. Because out of that then comes fantastic communication and what really needs to be said, and that will be heard. You know, so certainly listening is a very important skill on both sides. And you were saying about some people compare their life to others. That was something else that my ex-husband often used to do. Well, how can they afford to do that and we can't? I was like, well, they probably manage their money differently to us. They have different outgoings. You know, can you hear there's a discontent in your own life if you're comparing it to someone else's life? You don't know what they have to go through to show what they're showing to you, and you're only seeing, it's like the tip of the iceberg, isn't it? You don't know what goes on underneath or behind closed doors. So compare to despair is a great phrase that we've said before and I often remember. So it's about comparing it with within your own life and with what you want together as a partnership, as a family. If you've got children there, you need to include them in your discussions and bring them in, and as well as setting time alone aside for yourselves. But it's comparing that with what you want it to be like and going, well, is it how we want it to be? And if it's not, what can we do to make it like that? So there's the comparison that is the important one to have, not bundling along going, oh, I wish it was different. I wish it was different. I wish it was different. The wishes, you can wish and you can pray and you can hope, but at the end of the day, there will be actions you need to take. And so take those actions. Opportunities will come. Your prayers will be answered and opportunities will arise. Do you ignore them? Or do you go, okay, embrace them and action them? That's the key here. So something else that you could do together is plan your meals. And what do you like to eat? You could plan them together and you could also go shopping together. You could cook them together.
Oh,
and then
no,
you
my
eat
family
them
are not
together.
allowed to go shopping, Carol Ann.
No, why not?
No.
No, we used to
No.
go, my ex-husband and I, we used to go shopping together. That was really, I used to enjoy that because we used to do a big monthly shop. We would go to a big supermarket, we'd have a shop, we'd have something to eat together. And actually that was really quiet. And I think back, and there was no friction on that. We just, that was great. We didn't go shopping for clothes together, but that buying food together.
But
Yeah.
my
So
family,
what's their win for you?
you take them shopping, they don't go to food shopping, they go to gadgets shopping. They will spend more money than you normally spend. If you somebody who spends £300, they will spend another £300 on top.
Oh gosh.
So
we have to have the boundary then. We're only going food shopping.
So what they're allowed is to write down what they need. So I can go shopping and buy what they need.
Okay.
They get enough food, what they need. But I do not want no more gadgets in the house. Honestly,
okay.
they.
Well, that's gadgets, isn't it? That's not food. You can't eat
it. you find like there's a charger in every room, and then he wants to buy, if there's no charger in the car, or if there's just one charger in the car, you'll be like, I need to buy a charger, but you have got how many chargers in the house? I need extra in case that one doesn't work, but you don't need
Yes.
it. And then that is another extra cost. And then he will be looking at it. Now he look at his daughter, he start making things like, do you want this? Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And then they're stuck there and they just buy things. So I don't send
Oh,
them
okay.
shopping.
Yeah.
If I send them shopping, that means I just write things down and they go and buy and then they come back home. But if I'm there,
Mm.
that's when they spend more money.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but if on their own, they're fine.
Okay.
But if
Yeah.
I'm there, I don't
Mm.
know. It's because, oh, mom is doing shopping food. Let's just do this site. So they are looking at other things. So,
Okay.
but the idea in the house is we're going food shopping, but we're not really going food
Mm.
shopping. We're going to more shopping gadgets.
So
So,
there's a conversation to be had, isn't there? About this isn't work, and again, if it's about talking it through, if you want to make it work, if this is something you want to do together, then you make it work. If it's something you decide, well, no, that isn't for us, then that's fine. It's actually about finding what works for you.
yeah,
We're just throwing out these suggestions. You don't, and you're maybe thinking, oh my goodness, is this. You don't have to do them all.
no,
These are suggestions for you to maybe try on, think about it, and go, well, yes, no. If you at least try just one, something will make a difference for you. And this is what our discussion here today is about. Giving you some options so that you can make that decision and know that self-care is important because it does bring you together. And self-care is important about doing things together as well as individually. So yeah, I've got down here, maintain open lines of communication about stressors. I think that's a really key one. But what would I like to? I think, are we about time to wrap up now, Mom? So should I just give?
we didn't talk about a focus on physical connection as well. Physical
Oh, okay.
connection is very, very important.
Yeah.
And also managing conflict, guys, is
Mm.
very, very important.
So how does
Um,
that work within a self-care context? What are you talking about here? Physical side. Melissa.
because when it comes to self-care,
Mm-hmm.
if the relationship if physically is being neglected, that means the relationship people
Right.
couples can drift apart.
Mm-hmm.
There are some couples that when they have kids, they are all about kids. They become all about obsessed about children, and they
Mm.
neglect each other and they expect the relationship to work. So make sure that you still maintain physical touch, physical connection,
Mm.
and also learning how to resolve conflict is very, very important. It goes
Uh,
back to what Carol Ann said. What was the first thing that got us together is very, 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 very important.
mm.
Um, life is too short to
Yeah.
spend time with other things. I think it's nice to actually enjoy life as much as you can. I just sometimes I see people just wasting time. Like they have these couples, they're a couple, they spend time on social media. That's where gadgets needs to go. If they
Mm.
are causing problems, I always say to my children, I get rid of the TV. Honestly, I
Yeah.
get people like saying like when I was talking to the guy on Sky, he goes, "Oh no, sir, would you like to have a protect the TV if it breaks? It would just buy it, or if anything happens." I was like, "Are you kidding me? I'm not insuring TV. If it breaks, I celebrate." I celebrate until I get money to buy another one. By this house, it wouldn't happen. If it breaks, they'll go and get another one. So I was like, I wouldn't insure TV. I can insure other things, but I'm not insuring TV. It's like, it was like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't like my children watching TV, but they have to watch it because it's what it is. They wouldn't understand. But if I had my own choice, I will live with a house without TV because it's a distraction, Carol Ann. It's a
It is a
distraction.
distraction.
It's good marriages if you watch movies together, but most of the couples don't have time for each other. So the TV becomes a distraction. But it's nice to do, like, maintain that physical connection, that physical touch, because it's like you see couples, they're kissing like, kiss me on the cheek. How can you kiss me on the cheek? I'm not your friend. If you want to kiss your friend on the cheek, go kiss your friend on the cheek. So kissing, it means give me a normal kiss. So guys, if you have your girlfriend or your wife and you're kissing them on the cheek and you expect the relationship to work, go watch John Gray's video interview we had with him in May. Was it end of May? Yeah. Actually, kiss does work. Kiss your wife normal. Kiss your spouse normal. Touch. They're your best friend. When you fight with grace and walk away. I think that's what I leave them with, Carol Ann.
Okay. And you're right. Physical touch is important, and it's not just about sex.
No.
It's all sort of touch.
Yeah,
and that
just
closeness.
show appreciation.
Just having a hug.
Yeah, hug.
Just a hug. It doesn't need to go anywhere, but just that hug is just magical. Being able to hold and, as you say, kiss and just touch, that physical element. So if there's a problem, an issue there, again, that's some self-care that you can work on together. It's as I say, it's not about sex, it's about that closeness, the physical touch that you were talking about, Nomsa. It is important. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
And guys, there's no culture that says do not kiss. I like kissing my spouse, and one day my friend went, Nomsa, why do you like kissing? In our culture, I was like, there's no such thing as a culture that says do not kiss people. I've never heard of it. Honestly, I was like, what kind of a relationship do you have if you use the culture and say you can't kiss? She was like, no, you can't. I was like, and then how does the relationship work? Do you kiss only when you're having sex? I was like, I come from Africa. She's African. I was like, I never heard of it. Honestly, I've never heard of it. Somebody, or even the Indian culture saying you don't kiss your spouse.
Wow.
But people make up stories anyway.
Of course, it's all made up.
Yeah, people
it's
make
your
up
story,
stories.
And it's what you want to believe at the end of the day. People believe what they want to suit the circumstances and get the result they want.
Yeah,
that's how I always hear
it's like in religion, people make up stories.
Yeah, they take the aspects that suit them for the situation. Absolutely. Yeah. So there's a quote here: self-love is not selfish. You cannot truly love another until you know how to love yourself. It comes down to loving yourself and knowing that you are important. That is the main thing here. So the more regularly and the more deeply you meditate, the sooner you will find yourself acting always from a center of inner peace. And that's from J. Donald Waters. Coming from that center of inner peace, conflicts just dissolve. So, come back to that question. What do you want out of your relationship? Be in communication. Love yourself, and then love each other. And have an adventure enjoy life. I just know one quote I'd love to leave you with. I'm going to get this down off my wall. Hang on a second. Um, oh, I I just feel drawn to read this one because it's life is not a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in sideways, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, champagne in one hand, strawberries in the other, and screaming, "Woohoo! What a ride!" Why not the same with your relationships? What a
Yes.
ride. Yes.
Go for a
Enjoy.
ride. Why can't you do that in a relationship? Why not?
Absolutely. So that's what I'd like to leave you with.
God bless everyone. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. And if you're watching us on Facebook, please like Ngozi Talk Show's page. And we have a Ngozi Talk Show's group, and we have a Unique Billionaire Mindset group. Please join our groups and share our video and go to the website. If you are looking for love, go to the website www.hseia.com and sign up. If you are looking to find your own voice, we have coaches from all walks of life. Whatever the problem you may have, you'll have somebody that can guide you through, coach you and guide you through life, help you to find your own voice. Go to the same website and just sign up. Maybe tomorrow it might be a new website. You don't know. I think I have a meeting with the guys today. So yeah, for now, go to Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency website. It's on my Facebook as well. And just sign up. Whatever God guides you through it, just do what you feel is right. If you want to connect with Carol Ann as well, you can connect with her on Facebook, or you can connect with her through me. Either way, quicker, that's the quickest way. She's good at replying as well. So just connect with her, or if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me through the website. There's a phone number there, email address, Facebook, social media. And let's do this. God bless everyone and live with grace.
Bye.